Hoarah Loux, chieftain of the Badlands. Also known as Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, the first Tarnished, and perhaps the most literal physical embodiment of a gigachad. He does the ultimate anime technique of taking the training weights off for phase 2. And those training weights are a freaking lion. Come on. Don't you want to be that guy? I know I do. Today I will be. We're running through all remembrances in New Game Plus, and we're doing it as Papa Loux himself. To watch these runs live, follow me on Twitch. We're finding new ways to play Elden Ring all the time. Join the Patreon if you want to support the channel. We have a few extra videos in there for you as well. And make sure you like and subscribe. You want to be as based as Godfrey? First step is smashing that subscribe button. The real Hoarah Loux gamers out there even ring the notification bell. Now, let's get started with a wee bit of slaughter. Ding, ding. Obviously, this can't be a secret starting class since Godfrey requires you to beat like almost the whole game before you fight him. I could have had a pal drop it in, but surely New Game Plus won't be that much harder. I mean, the bosses have a little more health, deal a little more damage, and have a little more stance resistance, but how bad could that be?
It's not that hard, Scott. Tell him, Wash.
It's incredibly hard.
We'll talk about it when it gets hard in a little bit, but first we need to get all thick and veiny. We're using the Rando Calrissian build from a few weeks ago to start New Game Plus because, I don't know, it's done with the game. I just have to do what the Disney Corporation calls make it more relatable for international markets. Hit some turtle toes in the Weeping Peninsula and we've got one copy of Godfrey's Hole. We've already got one turtle down in the snowfield, so that's 2 boss holes really fast. Trade them in for the Axe of Godfrey and Hoarah Loux's Earthshaker, and we have to do some farming for the upgrade materials, so let's talk about these 2 great things and why I think they should maybe be a little bit better. Or maybe there could be better versions of them in the DLC. So the Earthshaker Axe of War has a couple issues. You can put it on damn near anything. I'm putting it on the basic cestus so we can throw hands if we want to. Sadly, you can't put an Axe of War on your bare hands, so I'm only going to use the knuckles to use the Axe of War. Definitely not because I didn't want to use bare hands. If you believe that, let me tell you how many runes the Black Knife Assassin is worth in Malenia. Hoarah Loux Boss Earthshaker covers the whole arena. The Axe of War covers your immediate area and a little bit more. If the enemies are practicing social distancing and are 6 feet apart, they're gonna be fine. It's 2 slams, but the first slam does not stun enemies to stop them from hitting you while you charge up the second slam, so we're not gonna use the second slam a lot because it's basically useless. Now obviously the axe is gonna have that iconic rock stomp that Godfrey does. He even teaches it to the Crucible Knights. It's basically just a fully physical version of Hoarfrost Stomp, so they don't really even need to make a new animation, and I'm guessing they'll just compensate it with more stance pressure and base damage.
Not this time.
The Axe of War is a roar, like barbaric roar. There's a small shockwave near you, and your charged attacks are different. It also turns the strength scaling of the axe up from A to C. Wait, hold on. The strength scaling for the axe is C? It has C strength scaling? That's really bad. It's the biggest axe in the goddamn game. It requires 42 strength to use it. Fine. I guess this is what we're doing today. It is worth noting neither the Regal Roar on the axe or Hoarah Loux's Earthshaker can be charged, which means neither of them benefit from the Godfrey talisman. Why would you do this? Instead of a second slam on Earthshaker, make it a smaller shockwave if you don't charge it, and a larger shockwave if you do, so you can charge it, so you can use the Godfrey icon. Instead of a roar on the axe, make it, I don't know, like at least a chargeable roar? This would be like if Radagon didn't cast Radagon's Rings of Light in the boss fight.
Wait a minute.
There's a lot of negativity right out the gate. I get that, but these are just my initial impressions on the Godfrey boss rewards. It feels like the game kinda hates axes, since the Godric axe is also pretty booty, but maybe it'll prove me wrong. Here's something I love about it. We just need strength, vigor, and endurance. Dex is, I guess, the next stat we're gonna invest in, but it's got D-scaling there, which I guess technically makes that a quality weapon. Fun fact, if you're using a quality weapon and it isn't called Bloodhound Fang, that weapon is not high quality, it's booty. The armor looks cool. We get the Godfrey head first. Google starting with Godfrey's head on your work computer if you want to know the reason for that. And we really just pound the hell out of the frogs in Mogwin. I'm farming these because we spent like 22 hours killing every other boss in the game. Apparently bell bearings carry over, so we could have just hit up a putrid avatar, but I didn't know that. So we're bullying frogs. You've probably seen a lot of it while I've been talking about Godfrey stuff. I really wish I didn't have to eat the frogs to level this up. Now let's talk about something I love eating. Today's sponsor, Factor. Factor is a meal delivery service that sends you meals that are ready to eat in 2 minutes or less, and they are never frozen, so they're still packed with flavor. We are neck deep in holiday territory, gamers. That means you've got to spend time shopping, going to family gatherings, office parties. Where's the time to make healthy foods? Surprise, there is none. That's where Factor comes in. I always get the calorie smart option. It's 550 calories or less, and the food is still delicious. 520 calories. This plate of food is 500 calories. Seriously, where else can you get low-calorie meals that fill your belly up? Number one goal is obviously to keep your belly full, but I also want to keep your wallet full. Head to factor75.com or click the link in the description and enter offer code HEIGHT50 at checkout for 50% off your first Factor box. So stay home and enjoy some delicious food courtesy of Factor. Game starts. We have the Roar Medallion, the Axe Talisman, and the Charged Attack Physic to really cook. Testing it out against the Grafted Scion, Roar, combo, into a charge, then drag, and...
Missed it by that much.
That's from Get Smart. Godfrey would love that, so would your grandparents. But let's be real, the Grafted Scion isn't really a boss. So almost one-shotting him with a combo is just beating up a bug to feel strong. Real bosses start in Limgrave, and we gotta talk to Malenia to get those sweet NG plus levels. All like 20 of them that we get. It's fine. Godfrey doesn't need a lot of levels. He's a man of simple tastes. You know what he really loves tasting? Poise. With a P. Let's teach our son Margit.
Yo, did he just walk up slowly and down smash?
Royal Roar gives you so much super armor, both while you're roaring and while you do your charged attacks with the roar buff active, that you can just fully face tank Margit. It breaks the stance and the crit will kill. Oh, come on. Couple more taps and he's done. Margit isn't scaled up as much as the rest of the bosses, but maybe I was wrong about this axe. Maybe it kicks axe. Gostok gets rocked. What else is new? It's not like we're taking the safe path. Hoarah Loux would just run straight through a castle, dodging arrows, taking few hits from arrows. What's the difference? Nothing can slow down this freight train of a man. Godric next, and he breaks our super armor. Sometimes. Then we get a roar up and drag our axe while he drags his axe. We're better at drag. The new generation just doesn't get it. Tuck in a big crit and he's doing the silly flip. It looks like we'll get to skip phase 2 and...
We were this close.
Ugh. Whatever, bodied. I just wanted it to be a one cycle. After the fight, we can simply pull out of Godric's back door and make our way to Lernia. This is where the nerds are, and you know Godfrey wants to throw down against the nerds. Not because he's a bully, because Raya Lucaria knows how to throw hands. Renala was a beast before her sad girl era. Maybe Godfrey and her could get like a Shania Twain thing going? Google that. You won't get in trouble at work, but it is a wild story. Pick up the keys from the fishbowl and warp to Raya Lucaria. Let's make this quick, eh? First up, the dog. It's smart enough not to just run into the roar. Good boy. Then it runs into a charged attack and it's at half health. New tech, the quick R2 after Regal Roar is faster than an R1. With 2 hits, it's really good and finishes off the dog pretty quickly. We've started quitting out behind Moongrim, but I'm curious to see what of our attacks he can parry. Not the roar, dude takes to the sky. And then it looks like he tries to parry a charged attack but whiffs it. Who would whiff a parry? I would never. Renala time, beat up her clones first and then give her the classic roar. Charged attack combo, but yo, watch those kids fly when we roar. Phase 2, one combo has her at half health. I just face tank the wolves, hit her again, we're done. Let's go, gamers. As we're going, gamers, let's go imagine Godfrey in Fortnite. Next month, we're going to be giving Fortnite a try. Follow me on Twitch if you want to watch me pop that cherry tomato town. Cherry tomato town, that's what it's called, right? Dragon Barrow next. I'm sure the bosses drop hella runes, but we're already fully cheeked up in terms of rune level, and I'm in a hurry. Corey and I both have holiday plans. We'd like to get some time off without missing an upload. Fort Faroth, other Dectus. We have 60 vigor. The rats couldn't kill us if they tried. All we have to do is touch alt us, then we can ride down to the Radon fight from the Dragon Barrow. Let's get a whole party. I want to see everyone test their strength against the #1 Godfrey stan, Radon. Silly dude thought he needed some int, but a crown is warranted with strength and endurance and vigor. Everyone gets in and does some major damage and stance damage, breaking him down. He's not even gonna get a phase 2 and... What?
Why does this keep happening to me?
Seriously, what did I do to the Sliver Gods that made them save every single boss from being a one cycle? Mimic time, we get naked first, so it's naked. Then, the hardest part of playing with ourselves is cleaning up and getting dressed. Since the Mimic is a chump, we'll use the Earthshaker here. Oh, that catches rolls pretty nicely. This might be a great tool for NPC bosses, definitely jotting that down. Fia's champs can just kind of be a pickle when you're solo. Regal Cinema Spirit next, the Roar lands, we even have a charged attack and get a jump attack. Should be enough for a stance break. This is a colossal weapon, whatever. Get stuck in some Splatoon juice, then run all the way across the pond while this governor does some healing in a sticky wicket, and he heals. It jumps, makes more Splatoon juice, then charges back in to teleport again? Right away? Why did you charge in if you wanted to leave? Carry a manor is uneventful, but if any Elden Ring character could carry a whole manor, it would be Godfrey. Do we expect Loretta to be a challenge? The power of poise carries us through most of her halberd swings until we get a stance break and kill the ghost. That's how hard we hit. We can kill ghosts. But enough boss fights. You can't spend the whole day having fun, throwing down with the toughest in the land. Sometimes you have to do errands. Talk to Ronnie, go to Nokron, get the knife, get the statue, and go to the Incel Rivermain, a place Godfrey should never be. When Godfrey sees a buff woman in a movie, he doesn't hit the keyboard. He hits the frickin' gym. But why are the women in the movie so strong now? Maybe because the men cry on Twitter every time a woman can lift more than they do. Sorry, they cry on X and they give Elon Musk $8 so everyone has to watch them throw their baby piss tantrum. Do a push-up. Ew, Lake of Rot. This is made of all the incel piss and tears from their little tantrums. Disgusting. Estelle time, and it's sloppy. We get grabbed pretty much instantly, then proceed to get chipped by a bunch more chomps. I think I'm overestimating the reach of this axe. It looks really long, but the moveset of colossal weapons uses a lot of attacks that don't go that far. Meteors aren't an issue, but then we get bongoed and teleported. By the time we stand up, we got grabbed because my reflexes are bad. Doesn't count though because my reflexes are amazing and I quit out before the damage.
You cheated.
Remember though, cheaters never prosper. Instead of having 14 flasks in our physic, we now have 4 red flasks, so this isn't gonna go much better. We get bongoed right away. I hate moves that don't have punish windows. He's at 1/3 of his health and we have no more flasks, but after the meteors, he does the tail stab. We punish that really well. Pretty goddamn free win. Cheating is fun and cool. This guy cooking up crabs apparently thinks it's funny to evoke our ex-wife's memories as a curse. That's so rude. We kill him in one combo. Ew, a necklace? Godfrey isn't about that. No shame to anyone who is, but covering up the tiniest sliver of this chest would be a crime. Here, Raya, you take it. You seem like a nice lady. She takes us to Volcano Manor, and you know what? Godfrey Tanith. Is that a ship? I'd ship it. Head right for the Godskin Noble who doesn't open with a fireball like I thought, so we got stabbed. I didn't get in fast enough after the phase transition, so he rollouts instead of jumps, but then he jumps anyway. Free punish. Still his belly bump hits us, but it's still a free win. Rykard, hey, gamers, exciting news. I've decided I'm not doing this anymore. Rykard specifically. It's just like, not a test of a build's strengths and weaknesses. It's a test if the build has reach and a status effect. If the build doesn't have one of those things, it's miserable. If it does, it's still boring. I never got good content out of a Rykard fight anyway. Like, have I ever had an exciting narrative or funny joke during this fight? Not really. So we take our first death in phase 2 because the body is wrong and we can't hit it, yada yada yada. I pretended to take a bathroom break, but really, I was just killing him with the Serpent Hunter. Yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. That'll be a slippery slope that stops you from being any boss you don't like.
No,
He's a remembrance boss. The spectacle is amazing.
I said no.
You have to do Rykard.
I don't want to.
Yeah, we're not skipping the Valiant Gargoyles. Probably because we can't. I mean, not unless we want to fall down the sewer hole to get to Deeproot. I'm just hitting that fully sent R2 charged attack when I can. It gets us a stance break right before the first gargoyle goes to half health, and that's just about perfect. That's when the other one comes down. There are some questionable hitboxes here, and the attacks are big enough that we can't poise boys through them. Really though, I just hate them because they skipped leg day. Spindly legs make for bad hurt boxes. Godfrey doesn't skip any day. No days. Just kidding. You do want 2 days off for recovery. That's super important. Building muscle mass requires breaking it down when you work out, but you also need to give it time to build back up. That's why you should rotate what exercise you're doing and take 2 days off in a row once a week. Take the time you would be working out to make some healthy, high protein meals to eat through the rest of the week. Or you could also save that time by getting Factor instead and then just play Elden Ring. Fia simp time, and I remember how to fight NPCs with this build, Earthshaker. So we take off all our clothes and start pounding. Y'all want to simp for someone? Simp for Hoarah Loux, warrior! Yeah, but like, no, we one-shot one of the champs with a pound. Lionel can take more from us than a few others, but even he can't handle a few hearty pounds. Brief tour of the royal capital, then it's time to fight a true threat. Godfrey, that's me. To keep it clear, we'll refer to this Godfrey as Lemon Godfrey, and these old men are having a lemon party. Lemon Godfrey has big hits. We can't poise boys through those. Somehow I get a roar off, and we at least have better scaling and a better moveset. It's all about slowing down and waiting for our turn. That gets Lemon Godfrey on his knees so we can finish this lemon party in a satisfying way. Time to fight our first kid. Well, we can't fight the first kid, he's dead, but we can fight the first of our kids. This is just wrestling. I don't think Godfrey is the type for corporal punishment. I thought maybe Morgott would have smaller attacks, since his sword is pretty thin, but it's still pretty big. Takes a few attempts to get a roar off, and we are fully using that vigor. And a big stance break and crit put him really low before phase 1 is even over. A roar and a strong attack combo get him to start pooping and farting, and that stops our final hit from coming out. We were low enough, I was just worried he'd tickle us with the laser dagger, but we get to heal and run around until there's a window. God, I love vigor in my build, poised up weapon skills, swinging this axe.
And those twins!
The twins get bullied one at a time. No chance to move, no chance to hit. Lil bro tries to holy breath me while I'm critting his brother, but the iframes make us invincible. Then it's just another bullying session for the win. We're here for even more vigor from Morgott's Great Rune because, like, what else do we need? Hey, pretend I didn't fall off the elevator while I was practicing the moveset, okay? For Biden lands, and as much as I dislike Elden Ring's monarchy lord system, it would be cool if someone could physically wrestle the incumbent for a chance to run. Not for the general election. That should be the choice of the people. The primaries should be a cage match. It would also stop a bunch of losers who just want to go on a book tour for mentoring. Oh, you want a cushy job as a correspondent for the rest of your life? You better willing to take a hit from Cory Booker with the steel chair. He's vegan, but he's eating up the competition tonight. Fire Giant time, there's a lot of running around and sometimes I get distracted. This health bar is stupid big, and I'd say this is the first fight where NG Plus really starts plussin'. It falls into the damage sponge concept of boss design where it's less about making the fight hard and more about making you take for goddamn ever to win. You really just can't take a lot of hits, so you're playing a rhythm game and every missed note takes away a third of your health. Phase 2, first try. We're hitting the hand, but the damage is still pathetic. When we move to the leg, we can barely see it ticking off. He falls down, we hit him in the eye, and it's still just little ticks. We win. Fire Giant isn't that hard, but it took a long time. Simple poise can't carry us through anymore. This is where the struggle begins.
No pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain.
Castle's Hole is uneventful, but Niall thinks he can beat Godfrey with 2 other men. Well, Hoarah Loux can handle 3 guys at the same time. In a fight, I mean. First we take the other 2, and then it's man-on-man action. Niall gets a little too excited and does his Omega attack early, then it's easy to get him on his knees for some punishment. He can swing his big pole all he wants, Godfrey has the poise to endure it and let out a barbaric yawp. Some quick stomp attacks beat him down for the easy win. Not as easy as beating up the old man in the Alberneric village, but almost. It really is a tour of small people getting bodied by the largest man in Elden Ring. He's canonically just a guy, not a demigod or even a giant. It's literally just a man who did enough push-ups to beat up everyone else. Penguin Noble's the next target. I forgot to use the fists in Hoarah Loux's Earthshaker, but it turns out roaring with the axe also knocks the NPCs up in a literal way, not in a, oh god, hopefully this one isn't an omen kind of way. We're in Mohgwyn Palace and hell, we have enough stats, let's just go get the Eleonora tier. Despite doing every boss in the NG version of this run, we never ended up fighting Eleonora. And gee, I think she's swell. The Earthshaker works so well. Spam that Ash again, etc. Earthshaker works better when we build for it, but I forgot to. Time for another Omen Child, and Mohg has so much more HP now, and we can't bleed him. Hitting him hard is alright, but his stance resistance also gets boosted, so we can't press L2, then R2, and win for free. This is outrageous. It's unfair. Phase 2, he starts throwing around so much red ink, he's playing Splatoon too much. Wish he'd do something like Smash Brothers. Wait, Mohg? Smash Brothers?
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah, we get cooked the first time we fight him. Attempt 2, things go a little better. We're able to get a combo going in phase 1, so that big old crit will push him really low before phase 2 can get started. He takes even more reduced stance damage as he's counting, and we're committed to a charged attack as he flies up. Big yikes. We're bleeding all over the place, boosting his damage and wasting our HP. Patience is important. All we can do is run around and wait for a path to him that isn't covered in blood flame. Finally, we just get enough openings to get that big Moog win. Liturgical Town is uneventful, so is the Howling Tree. I guess we made the swag jump, but come on. You don't want to hear about how Godfrey successfully walked around a bunch. You want to hear about the violence. Loretta doesn't let us press L2 and then R2 and just win. First, she jumps. That makes us whiff. Bummer. Her halberd also knocks us out of our poise boys. The arrow has a questionable hitbox. Okay, I guess I die. Attempt 2, roar, slam in, then charge again, but I made the mistake of doing the drag attack. So we get domed by an arrow again. Oof. I keep forgetting that the rolling attack on colossal weapons sucks ass, but so does Loretta's big slash, unless it hits you. Ooh, then you die. Third try, the roar hits, but she jumps away from our other attacks. It's just a lot of chasing down a girl on horseback while we're on our bare feet. Honestly, does sound like something Godfrey would do to train, just like try to outrun a horse. I think we're being pretty aggressive, but the stance is simply not breaking. Not the biggest deal, you can't crit her anyway, but if there's a benefit to rocking this big axe, should be regular breaks. Finish things off with a terrible rolling R1 attack. That one really bad. That's why for the Godskin duo, we bring in a spotter, Bernie. It's not saying you couldn't handle the weight, it's just doing it safely, which is an important part of working out. Our damage against the chunky is alright. It looks like Bernie is doing well against the slinky one too. We finish around the same time. Google Godfrey and Bernie finishing at the same time on your work computer to find out more. Timing is a bit off when Skinny comes back in, but we're not going to let him summon another one. It's Bernie and Godfrey double teaming one at a time. Bernie's roasting with his fire weapon. We're putting on the spit. It's just a spit roast with these two big boys. Malekith next, kind of messed up to fight your ex-wife's dog, but the dog attacked us, okay? I roar early, pretty sure we can't poise through any of this, and I definitely want the good scaling. Good? Acceptable. The big crit pushes him into phase 2, which makes us start a little further away. Not a huge problem. He still does the flip. Then the 360 spin attack. Then a dive. We punish with a crit and just barely don't kill.
And doesn't that sound familiar?
Just like all the early bosses, we have like a few more hits to win. That's a hitless phase 2 though, so you know, that's pretty cool. Gideon doesn't understand that to have great mental strength, it helps to be physically active too. Endorphins fuel creativity and critical thinking. Like, think about how much less dead you would be if you invested in vigor. Now it's time to fight Godfrey. Remember, when you're working out, you're not competing with anyone else, just yourself. He hits hard enough that we don't get to poise boys just like the Shade. Who could have seen this coming? He's also like a lot taller than us. 5'11" guys versus 6 foot guys, am I right? What's the metric version of that? Oh well. Phase 2 is all going fine and well. We get him to make those big stomps, but somehow we don't get a stance break in phase 2 when we did in phase 1. Oh right, we were using the stance boosting tier. That makes sense, that's my bad. Attempt 2, we can't be as aggressive in phase 1. His attacks just don't allow it. Still get the stance break, and maybe we can get enough pressure here to get a crit into phase 2, as long as he doesn't combo us with his massive daddy hands. Earthquake also lets him heal a lot of the stance pressure off, as does a constant spray of rocks. We're not getting grabbed at least. And when he goes for the shockwaves, we get some nice punishment. Just need one more hit, and after a failed grab, we win. Godfrey wouldn't get grabbed by himself. He can probably find someone else to do it anytime he wants. Finally, we have to fight our ex-wife's new husband, and it didn't go well the first time. I think I just need to give up on trying for those stance breaks. These endgame bosses have way too much resistance, and the greed is getting us killed. I screwed up here. Didn't roar right away, but as long as he's doing the small hammer swings, we can poise through it. Worth noting, we still take damage when we poise. That's just why we have 60 vigor and Morgoth's Great Root. Love the big jump, it means big punishes. Then the big slam gets us a crit. Our roar wore off as he goes to the hammer slammer, and we don't get to punish it. We have to heal. Thought I could poise through some stuff to get the roar off, but no, it looks like we need to just run away from the cone and get it off there. Big jump, and then the cone. It looks like Radagon is done. Maybe there's a little bit of America still in there, a part of America that loved Godfrey. We don't have to specify which parts of her she put in her husband's. Let's just move on. Elden Beast, we swing in and hit it, then it runs away, and we chase it. kind of how the fight works. Unless it chooses to do the melee attack, we just kind of don't get to hit. Pulling away to do the Elden Stars actually pulls it out of our running charged attack, which was really frustrating. Finally, we get a stance break pretty close to the end, and then we're just running around again for like way too long until it does melee attacks and we get to win. Thanks for deciding we get to win, game. That was nice of you. Time for Placiduous Axe, another boss with too much goddamn health. All of our attacks are slow and come with a big window of dead frames after them, which severely limits the amount of hits we can get before getting hit with the little lightning. I'm sticking to the front, but then we're in danger from the claws. Weirdly enough, because Plasty has so much more health in NG+, we actually get a stance break since we have to hit him more to get him to the phase 2 transition attack. And then we're teleporting, and the slow axe is not great at hitting these tight windows. It flies up and the camera decides to flip around to the back. Hey, hot game design tip. Maybe the lock-on button shouldn't be the same button that flips the camera around 180 degrees. Just a thought. Yeah, we get lightning, then we don't have enough healing, so we're back again, and the lightning is still fun. But this time we're hitting it from the back. That's a little safer and probably does just as much damage. We're not getting many crits anyway, so the bonus damage to the head is negligible. Stance break, we get to roar back off, which is pretty much mandatory for this weapon to not entirely shit the bed. Teleports again, we really just have to wait for him to stop. He does. We go back to the tail and get back to chopping. Re-roar while he flies away, and it's teleporting again. This fight is a slog in regular new game. Giving the boss more health just makes it worse. We're able to get another stance break and almost kill it before the Omega Laser, but alas, it hangs on with a sliver, the tradition of this run that keeps on giving. This weapon just needs to hit a little bit harder and it could be so fun, or they could, let you buff it, or do the rock attack. Lots of ways to improve this axe, honestly. And to clarify, this is the broken version of the axe. We don't have an option for the full one with the two sides of the axe blade, so they could do that in the DLC and we could get a cooler version. Anyway, we won. Just gotta run around a little bit. The Carrion Study Hall is full of learned folks, but if you quit out, they won't shoot lasers at you. They put a railing on the elevator, which is important. If there wasn't a railing, it would be totally reasonable for someone to fall off while they were practicing their sweet axe combos. Bring via the Curse Mark of Death. The Jocks and the Goths are friends. Fortis Axe time, and we're just going for those toes. You know how it goes. Really just like this boss, and it shows. Every time my frustration grows. I don't care if Godwin and them were bros. Will Godwin be in the DLC? No one knows. Why does this have a remembrance? This isn't a boss I would have chose. Hit it enough, that's the end of our woes. Well, we do have one boss left, and if you need pain to gain, we're about to get fucking shredded.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.
Despite all the complaining, this has actually been an incredible run. It's been really fast, we've rarely died, and the poise is winning out. But sometimes, when you're trying to make gains, you just hit a wall. Today, like a lot of other days, that wall is Malenia. I think this is the biggest discrepancy between how strong a build has been in the rest of the run and how weak it is against specifically her. So what are Malenia's weaknesses? Bleed and Frostbite. We can't do either. The axe is somber, despite being, just like a big axe. So you can't infuse it or buff it. Even if we could, the only buffing Godfrey is doing during a fight is on his arms. It wouldn't fit the character. That's okay though. Malenia has another weakness. Her low poise. You know how Malenia has low poise?
It's true, but he shouldn't say it.
Technically, yes, you can hit Malenia and stun her pretty easily, with the exception of every move she has with super armor, which is like half her moves. If you knock her down, that rules. But she could say, actually wake up kick, and then heal when she kicks you. But also, Malenia has low stance resistance in New Game. It's buffed with every cycle of New Game Plus. Colossal Weapon should be great at breaking her down for a crit, but finding windows to actually hit her enough while she's recovering faster than the other bosses, and hope that she just doesn't flip the super armor switch, yeah, it turns out it's not that big of a benefit. Also, the healing in NG+, she has more health, so 1% of her health every time she hits you is more. And she does more damage, because it's New Game Plus as well. All that to say, maybe being a really big guy with a slow weapon and no Spirit Ash is not the best idea for this fight. Also, I'm not against a Spirit Ash for this run. I never am, but the Spirit Ash I would have gone for is Nepheli, and we missed the opportunity to pick her up like way back when we gave Ronnie a knife, I think? Whoops, wasn't thinking. There aren't any other thematic ashes. Maybe the Stormhawk, even that doesn't feel right. Looking back at it now, I guess the Dean buff would have stacked with the Regal Roar since that's a weapon buff and the Dean is an aura buff. Whoops, I should have done that. honestly. Instead, we just kind of pancake in at her over and over again, sometimes swapping out talismans, sometimes swapping out physic ingredients. Ideally, we would go in, roar to send her skyward, then hit her on the ground and knock her down with one charge attack, walk up and hit an uncharged R2, which is enough for a stance break. In practice, she doesn't let us do that, instead just deciding to use super armor like 100% of the time. To be fair, she has a lot of opportunities to hit the super armor switch while we're doing that combo. It just kind of sucks that she can do that at any time. The ducky dance is also a problem. Obviously, I should just learn how to dodge it, but that thing where you like run around in a circle when she jumps in, then straight as she falls has never worked for me. I've been trying it since the first time I fought her 2 years ago. I've never been able to make it work. At this point, I'm convinced my copy of the game is broken and gave her bigger hitboxes. At one point we switch it up. We've burnt through all of our rune arcs. Might as well do this as Hoarah Loux, warrior. We drop Trow. We put on the blue dancer for bigger damage. We put on the Shard of Alexander to boost the shockwave damage. We get killed instantly. There are pros and cons to using the fists. Pros: light load. Rolling out of the way is easier when you roll a little further. It builds combos fast enough to get a damage boost from the physic tier. Because Cestus are a little silly when two-handed, jump attacks actually break her stance pretty fast. After getting a crit, we can shockwave, but not twice. Remember, Hoarah Loux's Earthshaker doesn't stagger into the second hit, and you can't charge it, even though Hoarah Loux charges it.
By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
We do eventually get into phase 2, but there are bad things about the fists. Even if the damage is okay, comparable, maybe even better, it's just reach. When the windows are already so tight, being able to get back in to get a hit becomes a big priority. After 10 whiffs, we just go back to the axe. The plan was to alternate the two every 10 deaths, switch back between trying it with the fists and trying it with the axe. Not because I think it would help, it would just help my sanity. Doesn't end up being a thing, because in the next cycle of 10, we cracked it. Roar and super armor pushes her through. That's a bummer. It's okay. We can still get a charged attack in, knock her on her ass, then do a fast R2 for the stance break, followed by another charged attack, and this is what I was kind of hoping for when I put on the combo physic. Our damage was turning up to 11 until we entered the ducky danger zone. Then we have to play more carefully and only swing in when we know it's safe. Onion comes down, wait it out, but not all the way out. She super armor dashes through the roar. Again, so cool. We have to back off and wait for her to goof. Every single hit, she just decides to power dash through everything. Skip the clone attack and wait it out for more opportunities. Onion number 2. I just start my Regal Roar again for better scaling. Hurry up and wait again. We have a lot of flasks and losing them is not my plan. We get the 3rd onion and that's the reward for our patience. This time though, I'm impatient. I just run in, stomp, and charge attack again for the big win. Overall, it took around 6 hours to win, 60 deaths and 28 dead bosses. Here's the thing though, 52 of those deaths were to Malenia, and 2 of the 6 hours were fighting Malenia. So if it wasn't for Malenia, this would be the 5th strongest run we've ever done. But factoring her in, it's in D tier, just behind Gehrman, because we spent a third of the time running in to die to one boss. So remember how I said I'm not fighting Rykard anymore? Well, I've also decided I'm going to place these runs wherever the hell I want. The metrics will help, but when something like this happens, I don't think it's fair to tank the whole build and say it's bad. Let's put it in B tier, behind the bubble run. Honestly, the axe isn't even all that good. It's just a big weapon, but big weapon is kind of cracked. Sure, the Ash of War doesn't actually get charged, only lasts 40 seconds, and is the only thing saving this weapon from having abysmal damage. Counterpoint though, big weapon. It's better than 90% of the spells. Thanks for watching. If you want to see these runs live, follow us on Twitch. We find new ways to play Elden Ring all the time. Join the Patreon if you want to support the channel, or just watch some exclusive videos, and make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.